Apple, the world's most valuable company. You most likely had heard about Apple and you could have possibly used its products. iPhone, MacBook, iMac, Apple Watch, and countless other products of Apple had made it the world's most valuable company. But on the verge of success lies a story of countless efforts and failures. Let's discuss Apple's story in today's video. Apple was founded by three tech enthusiasts, Steve Jobs, Steve Wozniak, and the third co-founder, Ronald Wayne, on April 1, 1976. Although Ronald Wayne wasn't much famous because he left the company only after 12 days, and he has given away his $800 shares in Apple's equity, and he also owned 10% of Apple, which is equivalent to $274 billion according to today's money. But he said that he had no regret having done that. He also knew that Apple was going to be big, but it was a requirement for him. Today, the highest shareholder of Apple is Vanguard Group. Anyways, done with the numbers, the company's first product was Apple I. To fund its creation, Jobs sold his Volkswagen bus and Steve Wozniak sold his HP65 calculator. Wozniak debuted the first prototype at the Homebrew Computer Club in July 1976. Apple I was sold as a motherboard, CPU and RAM, a base kit which cannot be called a computer. It went on sale debut for $666.66. Apple Computer was incorporated on January 3, 1977. Multimillionaire Mike Markula provided his expertise and funding of $250,000 during the incorporation of Apple. During the first 5 years, Apple's sales grew exponentially. Between September 1977 and September 1980, Apple's yearly sales grew from $775,000 to $118 million, an annual average growth of 533%. Now, Apple is experiencing the growth of its life. The next Apple product, this is the Apple II, was also invented by Steve Wozniak, and Jobs looked after the development of it. During the design stage, Jobs had a heated argument with Wozniak. Jobs wanted 2 expansion slots, while Wozniak wanted 8 expansion slots. In the end, Wozniak threatened Jobs and said, "Go get himself another computer." Now later, they both agreed at 8 slots. After the launch of Apple II, it became one of the highly successful mass-produced microcomputer in the world at the time. In 1978, when Jobs was 23-year-old, he had already become a millionaire, with his net worth exceeding $1 million, equivalent to $4.23 million in 2023. 2 years later, his wealth grew to an astonishing $250 million. Now, the upcoming year were the most crucial ones for Apple, as they had already achieved an immensely huge growth in the early years, mostly because of Apple II, but their growth was certainly not very long-lasting. So Apple had to do some crucial decisions and form some strategies to continue growing the company, ideally with the same rate. Jobs took over the development of Macintosh in 1981 from early employee Raskin and Wozniak, because Wozniak was on leave because of a plane crash earlier that year. In 1983, Steve Jobs lured the Pepsi-Cola CEO John Sculley by saying him, "Do you want to spend the rest of your life selling sugar water, or do you want a chance to change the world?" On 22nd January 1984, Apple aired a commercial in Super Bowl titled 1984, which ended with the words, "On 24th January 1984, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh, and you'll know why 1944 won't be like 1984.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh, and you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
This commercial made the hype of Macintosh in the eyes of the people. So on 24th January, Steve Jobs introduced Macintosh in front of tech enthusiasts in the Flint Auditorium at De Anza College. It was a success in the short term, but due to its low performance and limited range of available software, its sales declined massively in the second half of the year. The CEO, John Sculley, wanted the new version of Apple II to focus on education, small businesses, less similar to IBM's PC, where Jobs wanted the Apple II to be a direct competitor to IBM's PC. So as the Macintosh's failure to defeat IBM's PC became clearer, the more clearer became the position of the CEO, John Sculley. In 1985, John Sculley proposed a new plan to reorganize Apple and made Jobs in charge of new product development. This would significantly decrease the Jobs' influence in the company. So after some meetings and clarifications, Jobs left the company in 1985.